From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, April 20th. Going to have some cloud cover come back in for our Wednesday. A few showers are possible during the first half of the day before several showers develop closer to sunset. Might have a little bit of thunder out there possible. Highs will get into the upper 50s to low 60s, but overall should be a pretty nice day. State police hope releasing a grim new detail will help them identify a child found dead in woods in southern Indiana. Troopers say the boy was found inside a suitcase. The suitcase has a hard shell with a bright, bold pattern featuring a Welcome to Las Vegas sign on both sides. Police say a mushroom hunter found the suitcase Saturday night in a heavily wooded area of eastern Washington County. Detectives hope it will help them identify the child. An autopsy on the boy was performed yesterday, but nothing about how he died could be determined. Based on information from the autopsy, investigators think the boy was about 5 years old. He was black, about 4 feet tall, with a slender build and short hair. Police think the boy died sometime within the past week.
Obviously, a 5-year-old boy, child, does not end up inside of a suitcase that's sealed on his own. It's very tragic. It's a very sad case. It's not the type of case that anybody wants to work on, and it's a lot of emotions involved in this case. So, that's where, but right now we know that we need to identify him. He obviously did not show up there by himself.
State police hope by sharing the photo of the suitcase, it'll lead to more answers in the investigation. If you have any information, you're asked to call the toll-free tip line at 1-888-437-6432. Police say they've received about 200 calls so far. If you'd like to see a photo of the suitcase, just go to wishtv.com and we've got it for you there. In South Bend, the woman at the center of a statewide search has been found dead. Police officers found her 5-month-old alive next to her in a vehicle. On Monday, authorities in Elkhart County issued an alert for Alexis Morales and her son. The pair hadn't been seen in a week. South Bend police announced that they did find the two in the vehicle mentioned in the alert. This was on the city's west side of South Bend. Police say the child was not injured. Medics took Messiah Morales to the hospital just to be checked out. Now, South Bend police and the Elkhart County Sheriff's Department are working together to investigate how Alexis Morales died. If you have any information, you're asked to call Michiana Crime Stoppers at 574-288-STOP. Indiana State Police say there is now a statewide search for a missing 15-year-old. Blake Boise is from Auburn in northeast Indiana. According to police, he was last seen just after midnight yesterday. He's described as 6'1", 160 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes. Police say Boise was last seen wearing a red hooded sweatshirt with the Black Widow spider logo, ripped black skinny jeans, and dark gray Adidas shoes. If you spot him, call police in Auburn. And a major twist in the disappearance of a presumed murder of Suzanne Morphew, a native of Alexandria, Indiana. Prosecutors in Colorado are no longer charging her husband. His attorney is talking. Barry Morphew was set to go on trial for the first-degree murder of his wife, Suzanne. She disappeared on Mother's Day 2 years ago after the couple relocated to Colorado. Her body still has not been found. And that's the reason prosecutors requested the charges against Barry Morphew be dropped. Prosecutors say authorities are close to finding Suzanne's body, but need more time to complete searches because of weather. Even though the criminal charges have been dropped, prosecutors are leaving the door open to bringing new charges against him later. The move follows a previous ruling barring prosecutors from presenting most of their key witnesses at Barry's scheduled trial. The prosecution says that was another reason for its decision in dropping the charges. Barry's attorney says the charges against him were false from the beginning. When Suzanne disappeared, her brother led a 6-day volunteer search party. People from the Hoosier State traveled to Colorado to look for her. Her brother believes her body is buried somewhere near the home she shared with Barry. Barry was set to go on trial April 28th. A Catholic priest who worked at 2 local churches is pushing back against accusations of inappropriate conduct. Father James DiOrio filed a lawsuit this month against his accuser, who was in high school at the time of his claims. Before DiOrio worked at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Carmel, he was a priest at St. Alphonsus Liguori in Zionsville. The accuser first wrote a letter to the Diocese of Lafayette last year, claiming DiOrio used his position as a priest to emotionally abuse him, forcing him into a fasting program that led to an eating disorder. In DiOrio's lawsuit, he says a student wrote a second letter last October accusing DiOrio of sexual harassment and grooming. Diorio denies all of the claims made against him, saying in the lawsuit that he did not make any attempt to groom the student, nor did he even consider sexual assault, sexual harassment, or inappropriate conduct. News 8 has reached out to both attorneys and has not heard back. United Airlines says passengers banned for not following mask rules will be able to fly again on a case-by-case basis. The airline made the announcement following Monday's ruling to strike down the federal mask mandate on public transportation. United says it's banned about 1,000 flyers for refusing to follow the mandate. According to a statement from the company, some of those passengers will be able to fly again after ensuring their commitment to follow all crew member instructions on board. Alaska Airlines appears to be allowing something similar. Some banned passengers back on board. The company says, though, that guests whose behavior was particularly egregious will remain banned. The Justice Department warns people may have to put their masks back on, though. It says it may appeal the ruling that struck down the transportation mandate if the CDC wants it to. A Justice Department spokesperson says officials believe the federal mask order was a valid exercise of the authority Congress has given the CDC to protect the public health, and an important authority the department will continue to work to preserve. The CDC wanted a mandate to stay in place through at least the beginning of May. Health experts point out that the virus is still deadly, and people cannot always keep safe social distance when traveling. Experts are now watching yet another evolution of the virus, which is said to spread faster than other variants and subvariants. Russia is pushing farther into eastern Ukraine. Troops have unleashed a series of attacks on cities across the Donbas region. Officials report a deadly missile strike in Kramatorsk. They say the missile hit a warehouse yesterday afternoon, killing one worker and hurting 3 others. Ukrainian officials say the Russian military also dropped heavy bombs on the devastated port city of Mariupol. They say the bombs flattened what was left of a sprawling steel plant and hit a hospital that was housing hundreds. One Ukrainian Marine commander is calling the situation critical and is asking for international help. The White House is moving forward with a $6 billion bailout for the nuclear industry. The Biden administration is using part of the infrastructure package to save power plants at risk of closing. The Energy Department says nuclear is needed as a carbon-free source of power to help combat climate change. At least a dozen reactors in the U.S. have closed in the past decade before their licenses even expired. The Indiana State Police announced preliminary charges against 4 children 12 to 14 years old. State police say that the kids were responsible for breaking in and damaging the State House. Our teammate first started looking into this story in March. State police are asking for the 4 to be charged with criminal trespassing after causing more than $17,000 worth of damage. Police say the kids damaged the State House entrance and electronics, painted graffiti on the walls, and threw a bench from the 3rd floor. State police are recommending several charges for 3 of the kids, including trespass and resisting law enforcement, and one child is getting a request for a flag desecration charge. A wildfire is threatening hundreds of homes and 6,000 acres of land in northern Arizona. The fire's been burning for the past 2 days just north of Flagstaff. The county's leaders declared a state of emergency. The fire shut down a U.S. highway. County officials say more than 700 families have evacuated. Authorities have also moved 1,000 animals to safer ground. Fire crews don't yet have an estimate for containing it. Johnny Depp takes the stand again today in his defamation trial against his ex-wife Amber Heard. Depp is suing Heard for $50 million over a 2018 Washington Post opinion piece. In it, Heard wrote about her experience with domestic abuse. The piece did not mention Depp by name, but he claims it led to financial losses for him. The two have also accused each other of violence. Heard says Depp threw a phone at her. Depp denies the accusation and did not face charges. Heard is scheduled to take the stand later in the trial. A British judge just approved the extradition of Julian Assange to the United States, where he faces trial for espionage. The case now goes to the UK's Interior Minister for a decision. Assange is charged with publishing a huge trove of classified documents on WikiLeaks more than a decade ago. He was arrested in London in 2019 for skipping bail during a separate legal battle. Before that, he spent 7 years inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London to avoid extradition to Sweden on rape and sexual assault charges. Assange's lawyers have a month to appeal. A tennis great is expecting 5-time Grand Slam champ Maria Sharapova announced the news on social media yesterday, which was also her 35th birthday. Sharapova retired from tennis in early 2020. She wrote on Instagram, "Precious beginnings. Eating birthday cake for 2 has always been my specialty." Congratulations to her. This has been your News 8 Daily 8. For Wish TV, I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.